नष्टप्रायेष्व अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्या उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी.
By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact.
Sorry, it needs to be scrolled down. Text 19. Tada rajastamo bhavaha kamalobhadayaschye cheta etar anavidham sthitam sattve prasidati.
As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy.
Text 20. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vignanam mukta sangasya jayate.
Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association.
Hare Krishna, he cannot hear the shloka.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Sorry. Text 21. Bhidyate hridaya granthis shidyante sarva sanshayah shiyante chashya karmani drishta evatmanishvare.
Thus the note in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master.
Text 22. Ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya mudha vasudeve bhagavati kurvanti atma prasadani.
Certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, with great delight, because such devotional service is enlivening to the self.
Text 23. Sattvam rajastama iti prakrate gunastahir yuktaha paraha purusha eka ihasya dhatte sthya adai hari virinchi hareti sangnah shreyamsi tatra khalu sattva tanor ninam shyuha.
The transcendental personality of Godhead is indirectly associated with the three modes of material nature, namely passion, goodness, and ignorance. And just for the material world's creation, maintenance, and destruction, he accepts the three qualitative forms of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Of these three, all human beings can derive ultimate benefit from Vishnu, the form of the quality of goodness.
Text 24. Parthiva daruno dhumas tasmad agnistraymayah tamasastu rajastasmat sattvam yad brahma darshanam.
Firewood is a transformation of earth, but smoke is better than the raw wood, and fire is still better, for by fire we can derive the benefits of superior knowledge through Vedic sacrifices. Similarly, passion, rajas, is better than ignorance, tamas, but goodness, sattva, is best because by goodness one can come to realize the absolute truth.
Text 25. Bhejire munayo thagre भगवन्तं अधोक्षजं सत्वं विशुद्धं क्षेमाय कल्पन्ते ये नुतान् इह.
Previously, all the great sages rendered service unto the personality of Godhead due to his existence above the three modes of material nature. They worshipped him to become free from material conditions and thus derive the ultimate benefit. Whoever follows such great authorities is also eligible for liberation from the material world.
Text 26. Mumukshavo ghora rupan hitva bhuta patin atha narayana kalaha shanta bhajanti ya anashuyavaha.
Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious, and they respect all. Yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods and worship only the all blissful forms of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions.
Text 27. Rajastamaha prakritayah samashila bhajanti vai pitrabhuta praje shadin shriyeshwarya prajepshavaha.
Sorry, can you scroll up, please? Thank you. Those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance worship those in the same category, namely the forefathers, other living beings, and the demigods, who are in charge of cosmic activities. For they are urged by a desire to be materially benefited with women, wealth, power, and progeny.
Text 28 to 29. Vasudeva paraveda Vasudeva paramakaha Vasudeva parayoga Vasudeva parakriyaha Vasudeva param gnanam Vasudeva param tapaha Vasudeva paro dharmo Vasudeva paragatihi.
In the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifice is to please him. Yoga is for realizing him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by him only. He is supreme knowledge, and all severe austerities are performed to know him. Religion, dharma, is rendering loving service unto him. He is the supreme goal of life.
Text 30. Sa evadam sasarjagre Bhagwan Atma Mayaya Sad Asad Rupaya Chaso Guna Maya Guno Vibhuhu.
In the beginning of the material creation, that absolute personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, in his transcendental position, created the energies of cause and effect by his own internal energy.
Text 31. Taya Vilasi Teshva Eshu Guneshu Gunavan Iva Anta Pravista Abhati Vignanina Vijrimbhitaha.
After creating the material substance, the Lord, Vasudeva, expands himself and enters into it. And although he is within the material modes of nature and appears to be one of the created beings, he is always fully enlightened in his transcendental position.
Text 32. Yathahya avihito vanir darushva ekah swayonishu naneva bhati vishwatma bhuteshu cha tatha puman.
The Lord, as Supersoul, pervades all things, just as fire permeates wood, and so he appears to be of many varieties, though he is the Absolute One without a second.
Text 33. Asau gunamayir bhaver bhuta shukshmendriyatmabhihi swanirmiteshu nirvishto bhunte bhuteshu tad gunan.
The Supersoul enters into the bodies of the created beings who are influenced by the modes of material nature and causes them to enjoy the effects of these modes by the subtle mind.
Text 34. Bhavayatya esha satvena lokan vai loka bhavanah leelavataranutrato Devatirya Naradishu.
Thus the Lord of the universes maintains all planets inhabited by demigods, man, and lower animals. Assuming the roles of incarnations, he performs pastimes to reclaim those in the mode of pure goodness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Sachimataji and Vishwani Sachimataji, for that wonderful recitation. That is really nice. Okay. Is the screen visible? The slides are appearing on the screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, thank you so much. So we will start by reciting the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Magnanatimirandhasya Gnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhate Girim Yatkrupa Tamaham Vande Shri Guru Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Shanvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Rudyantya Hastohya Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suratsatam Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike Tatam Prasangan Mama Virya Samvido Bhavanti Ratkarna Rasayana Katha Tajoshanada Shapavarga Vartmani Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anukramishati. Humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees. And today we are discussing the verse number 31, chapter 2, canto 1. Taya vilashiteshveshu guneshu gunavaniva anta pravishta abhati vignanena vijrumbhitaha. Synonyms: Taya, by them, vilasiteshu, although in the function, eshu, these, guneshu, the modes of material nature, gunaman, affected by the modes, iva, as if, anta, within, pravishta, entered into, abhati, appears to be, vignanena, by transcendental consciousness, vijrambhita, fully enlightened. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. After creating the material substance, the Lord Vasudeva expands himself and enters into it. And although he is within the material modes of nature and appears to be one of the created beings, he is always fully enlightened in his transcendental position. Purport: the living entities are separated parts and parcels of the Lord, and the conditioned living entities. Oh, sorry. Does anyone want to read the purport?
Can I read it, Mataji?
Yes, sure, Shipra Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The living entities are separated parts and parcels of the Lord, and the conditions living entities who are unfit for the spiritual kingdom are strewn within the material world to enjoy matter to the fullest extent. As Paramatma and eternal friend of the living entities, the Lord, by one of his plenary portions, accompanies the living entities to guide them in their material enjoyment and to become witness to all activities. While the living entities enjoy the material conditions, the Lord maintains his transcendental position without being affected by the material atmosphere. In the Vedic literature, Shruti, it is said that there are two birds in one tree. One of them is eating the fruit of the tree, while the other is witnessing the actions. The witness is the Lord, and the fruit eater is the living entity. The fruit eater, living entity, has forgotten his real identity and is overwhelmed in the fruitive activities of the material conditions. But the Lord Paramatma is always full in transcendental knowledge. That is the
You have done enough. You have done more in what you have done in years.
That is the difference between the super soul and the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul, the living entity, is controlled by the laws of nature, while the Paramatma or the super soul is the controller of the material energy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So this is a very, very beautiful purport, and there are so many points in one purport. And as always, Srila Prabhupada's purports, every single line has to be underlined and to be understood. So there are various points here. So Sutta Goswami has answered till now 2 questions. And anyone wants to say what were the first 2 questions? The first 2 questions by the sages, what were the questions and what were the answers? Both the questions had same answer, right? Just to give you the hint. In today's verse, question number 4 is 30 to 33 verses. Question number 4 is going to be answered. And okay, no one? Question 1 and question 2. So the first question of the sages was, what is the ultimate good for the people in general, right? And the second question, what is the essence of all the scriptures? So these are the 2 first questions, and both the questions, the answer is bhakti. Performing bhakti yoga is the answer. Now, there are total 6 questions. In verses 30 to 33, verse 30 was discussed yesterday, today is 31. 2 more verses will discuss will be the answer to the question number 4. Now, one would think that next question 3 should be answered, right? If we go in chronological order. But here, Sutta Goswami is answering question 4 first. So the question 3, anyone remembers what was the third question of all the sages? What is the third question?
Why Lord Krishna has taken birth of Mother Devaki?
Yes, thank you, Partha Sarthi Prabhuji. Very good. Yes. So what is the purpose of Krishna appearing as the son of Devaki and Vasudev? And the fourth question, it might have been discussed yesterday. Sorry, I had no time to hear the recording. So if there is anything repeat, please forgive. I've seen the wonderful slides of Prabhuji. So I've tried to not repeat those slides. But question 4, what is the fourth question? I just want to discuss why fourth question is answered first before question 3. So, okay. So the fourth question is that please, Sutta Goswami, please describe the Lord's adventures in his various incarnations, which is hinting to Purusha avatars. So now, Sutta Goswami is answering question 4 first. Because he's not going in chronological order, he's going in logical order. So unless the world is created, how will Krishna enter in that world and appear as son of Devaki, right? So if we see it logically, first the world has to come into existence, and Sutta Goswami needs to explain that how creation, maintenance, how does the creation take place, and that is the explanation of Purusha avatars. So he goes in a logical way that let me first answer question 4 and then the question number 3, which is Krishna appears as a son of Devaki and Vasudeva once the world is created, material universe is created, then Lord enters that. So first creation, then Krishna entering as son of Devaki and Vasudeva. So in this 3-4 verses, the question number 4 is answered. And here mainly yesterday's verse was talking about the first Vishnu, which is the Mahavishnu. There is only one Mahavishnu, Karna Dakshai Vishnu, out of whose body the innumerable universes, material universes take birth. And in each material universe, he expands as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who is the second super soul. And like this, then within that one universe, there are innumerable, so many species of animals, insects, human beings, all of these will be taking birth. And within their hearts, there is the third super soul who is called as Shirodakshai Vishnu. So this particular verse number 31 discusses Garbhodakshai Vishnu and Shirodakshai Vishnu, but in brief. So the Lord personally entered this universe and entered in the bodies of all the jivas, and he appears to be one of the created beings, yet he is always transcendentally situated. So this is the main theme of this verse, as we can see in the translation of Srila Prabhupada here, that even though Lord enters and creates and appears to be one of the created beings entering this material universe, he remains completely enlightened and remains in his full transcendental position. He is not one of us. So we are conditioned souls. We are totally bound by the 3 modes of material nature, and Maya Devi, who is the ruler of this universe, we are under her control unless we take shelter of Krishna. Because we discussed earlier that one who is unbound, only he can unbind us, right? And that is the Lord. Because if we are tied with the rope, somebody who is not bound, only he can free us. So that is Lord Shri Krishna and all the 3 super souls, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Shirodakshai Vishnu. So Lord created the universe, he expands himself and he enters into the universe as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and so many souls enter into the universe. But the entrance of these 2 Vishnus into universe, it should not be compared with the ordinary living entities entering this universe. Because he's entering the universe to maintain the universe and to orchestrate the universe, to create it, to sustain it. That's what Garbhodakshai Vishnu and Shirodakshai Vishnu are doing. But an ordinary soul is forced to enter this universe to suffer or enjoy the results of his previous activities. So that is established here. And the soul and super soul is distinguished in this purport. As many souls are there, that many Shirodakshai Vishnus are there. So number of Mahavishnu is 1. Number of Garbhodakshai Vishnu equals to number of material universes, and number of Shirodakshai Vishnu equals to number of living entities within the universe. So it's very much emphasized here that one must understand soul and super soul are not the same. We may be qualitatively same with the Lord, but quantitatively we are completely different. Lord is omnipotent, he is all powerful, he is omniscient, he is aware of all our activities, our thoughts, our actions, our desires, our own unspoken thoughts. What is within our hearts, which we ourselves cannot articulate or discuss with someone, Lord knows that each and every single thought, and that is recorded, and everything Lord never forgets. Remember chapter 4. Evam parampara praptam, the Lord incarnates again and again, but Lord never forgets. He is ever youthful, he is omniscient, he is omnipresent. He is present in the every nook and corner of this material universe. There is nothing that is devoid of Lord's presence. He is full of knowledge and bliss. So just like we are a spark of a fire, Krishna is the entire fire. We are like a drop of ocean. He is the entire ocean. And we are Anu Atma, very tiny soul, and he is Vibhu Atma. So we must understand that Lord enters this universe, but there is a big difference between the living entities and Lord. We are here to suffer or enjoy our karmas, but Lord comes here out of his total compassion, which we will see in the coming slides. So I have added a few more points here to understand why it is so important to understand the creation, why Lord is creating again and again, and why annihilation takes place. It's very important to understand. So I've just put this in pictures. All of you must have seen it so many times also. And even in Bhagavad-Gita 15.7, we know that Lord Krishna says that Mamai Vamso Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, Manasasthani Indriyani, Prakriti Sthani Karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. So we can see here also when we were discussing Bhagavad Gita, we had seen here also that how this verse is there, 5.18, right? Which verse was this? Well, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmani Gavi Hastini. Yeah. Shuni Chaiva Swapakesha Pandita Samadarshina. And there, why I have put this here is because in the cow, in the dog eater, Brahmana, elephant, everyone there is in the heart, we can see Lord is present. So that is Shirodakshai Vishnu. This is the Garbhodakshai Vishnu here. This is one Jagadanda, which is like the egg, the universe, and the one who enters this and maintains this is Garbhodakshai Vishnu, which is here, and this is Karana Dakshai Vishnu outside, from whose body so many different universes have been born, which we can see like little bubbles here, right? So that is Mahavishnu, Karana Dakshai Vishnu. This is Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and in every jiva's heart there is a Shirodakshai Vishnu. And to understand the super soul, the Shirodakshai Vishnu within the heart, there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita 13:23. Upadrashta Anumanta cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara Paramatmeti Chapyokto Dehismin Purusha Para. Purusha Para. So that is that Purusha Para, enjoyer is transcendental. That is super soul. Yet in this body, there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul. So that's how he records all the activities, because he is overseeing and permitting. And again, in the purport also, two birds on a tree are mentioned. So I've just put it here. That Srila Prabhupada says that in the Vedic literatures, it is said that there are two birds in one tree. One of them is eating the fruit of the tree, while the other is witnessing the actions. The witness is the Lord, and the fruit eater is the living entity. The fruit eater, living entity, has forgotten his real identity and is overwhelmed in the fruitive activities of the material conditions. So we can see here that there are two birds sitting on a branch, but I have chosen this one bird is eating berries, this picture, because this is the bird who is doing all the activities, enjoying, suffering, eating, working, doing all the activities, while this bird is simply sitting and watching this other bird doing all the activities. So this is us Jiva, and that is Lord Shiro Dakshai Vishnu within our heart, Paramatma. So, even in 5.29, it is mentioned that this super soul, Lord within our heart, he is Suhrudam. He is our best well-wisher. He is waiting for us to turn to him. Because all of us are given independence and free will. Lord has not programmed us like a machine. He wants us to use our free will on our own accord, because Lord does not want forced love. So what he does is he waits. Okay, when will this jiva will turn to me? Because as we had discussed earlier, he's more eager to have us back than us going back to him. So this verse 529, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhrudam Sarvabhutanam Gnatva Mam Shantim Ruchati. A person in full consciousness of Krishna, knowing him to be the ultimate beneficiary of all the sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all the planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. So this is the peace formula verse, right? So we will only attain peace if we turn to him. If we turn to Krishna, then we will be actually peaceful. Because all the desires that we have, they are unlimited. It's like satisfying one will not make us satisfied or peaceful, because they are unlimited. There will be another desire waiting to be fulfilled, and it is unlimited. And just satisfying material senses is not going to satisfy us, because we know the first lesson of Bhagavad-Gita is we are not this body, we are the soul. So the soul is satisfied by serving super soul. So this is the nature of the living entity. And again, I was also thinking about these words, that why these two words are mentioned. So if we go deeper into also the purpose of Srila Prabhupada, sometimes we may get this thought that, and we may get this question, right? That how comes we, all the souls, say it could arise that why Lord, who is so merciful, he will help someone remember him at the time of death, and he will help another to forget. Some will go back, some will not go back. Some will be doing abominable actions, and still Lord sitting within the heart gives the permission. So why does that happen? Because without the sanction of the Lord, in Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, if you want to go back and read the verses 13 to 16, there is the knowledge of the three doers, right? And there was that chart, I think that verse, one of those verses were done by Vrindavan Chandra Prabhuji, and he had shown that how the soul desires, and the super soul, Lord, sanctions if the soul deserves, and Prakriti, the material nature, fulfills that desire. So there are the three doers. We are not the only doers. So what I'm trying to say here is that if the soul desires, say, something sinful activity, then in the beginning, what Lord does is, I have put these two verses from third canto of Bhagavatam 12th chapter, because this explains very nicely. Once I had this question that how comes if somebody has a bad desire, how come Lord gives permission for those bad desires to fulfill, like to harm someone, or thief, or somebody who is really bad, like who is killing someone. How comes these are also sanctioned by the Lord? So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that the living entities are separated parts and parcels of the Lord. And the conditioned living entities who are unfit for the spiritual kingdom are strewn within the material world to enter matter to the fullest extent. As Paramatma, an eternal friend of the living entities, the Lord, by one of his plenary portions, accompanies the living entities to guide them in their material enjoyment and to become witness to all activities. Now, so those, all of us here, actually it is sometimes someone might get a pride, right? That, oh, pride of beauty, fame, richness, wealth, or whatever it may be, knowledge, strength. But actually, if you think about it from after hearing acharyas and hearing from Bhagavad-Gita and Bhagavatam, what is Srila Prabhupada saying here and Krishna is saying is that because we are unfit for spiritual world, we are here. Actually, we are degraded, we are here, it is an embarrassing situation. There is nothing to be very proud of. Yes, I heard in one class today by my spiritual master, if there is any pride, then one should have a pride in the parampara that they belong to, the pride in their guru and the acharyas that they are following, or the sampradaya they belong to, because that is the real pride. Not the pride of oneself. So we are unfit, we are here, but Lord is so merciful. He comes with us within our heart as a plenary portion in this material world, being unaffected by this world to guide us. So what happens is that if this person, say as it says here in this purport, misuses his independence due to ignorance. This person is actually ignorant, right? Say those who are doing bad actions or karmas, sins, they are ignorant. So what they would do is they will misuse the ignorance and they will desire bad things. Then what happens is, first of all, Lord is very merciful within the heart. He helps and he tries to protect this living entity from falling in the trap, say by common sense, by the voice of the super soul from within, will try to stop. But if this person is so bent upon not understanding, and this person persists to glide down to hell, then what happens is Lord helps him to go to the lowest point to give him chance to see if he is happy misusing his independence. As it says here in the purport by Srila Prabhupada 3.12.3, that if he persists to glide down, Lord helps him to forget his real position. So what is our real position? By the way, constitutional position, we should know by now. Any of you, what is our real position?
We
What
are
is?
the servant of the Lord.
Yeah, we are part and parcel of the Lord.
Part and parcel.
Our constitutional position is to serve Krishna. We are servant of the Lord. So Lord will help him to forget, because now he is so bent upon doing this action. So Lord helps the falling living entity glide down to lowest point just to give him the chance to see if he is happy by misusing his independence. Almost all the conditioned souls who are rotting in the material world are misusing their independence, and therefore 5 kinds of nescience are imposed upon them. So then I did not know what are these 5 kinds of nescience. So I asked my Shiksha Guru, and then he told me it is in the previous verse itself, which I had not read. So there it is. Brahma first created the nescient engagements, like first kind of ignorance is self-deception. Second is sense of death. Third is anger after frustration. Fourth is sense of false ownership and illusory bodily conception. And fifth is forgetfulness of one's real identity. So these 5 kinds of ignorance is this living entity being put upon. This is imposed on him. And as an obedient servitor of the Lord, Brahma creates all these as a matter of necessity. Persons who do not care for the path of realization get full facility from the Lord for executing their proclivities to the fullest extent, and Brahma helps in that procedure without fail. And Brahma is not happy to do so. So when I read this, I was quite like, worried about these people, that what will happen to them. So the answer is that they will, by mercy of a devotee of the Lord, be able to again come out of this ignorance and then get a chance or opportunity to be in Krishna consciousness. That is why devotees of the Lord are extremely dear to Krishna. because Krishna, they are Krishna's representatives, even such fallen souls. And there are so many examples in the Bhagavatam, Jagai Madhai, there are so many examples. Such fallen souls can be rescued by the devotees of the Lord. So there is one hope that even after all this going to the lowest point, they can come back into their original position eventually and purify by the mercy of the devotees of the Lord. So this is what I wanted to explain and just discuss today, that it is very important to understand that why this creation maintenance goes on and on and on. Right? Say also in this eighth verse, this 8.19, also this is mentioned, this talks about Brahma's day, I think. Bhuta grama sevayam bhutva bhutva praliyate ratri agame vasha partha prabhavanti aharagame. Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being. And with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. So creation is the beginning of the day of Brahma, and all the bodies are constantly created as devta or humans or animals according to our previous karmas. So if somebody has done good activities, they will take good birth. If somebody has done bad activity, then they will get a lower birth. And if someone has done bhakti activities, they will get Supreme Lord's planet. So we should not, the whole point is that one should not become unduly attached to this material world. That is why in this chapter itself, one of the verses mentions material world as Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam, right? One very popular verse. This material world is, but one should not get depressed that we are here, we are in this Dukkhalaya Shashvatam and everything is bad about it. No. In the previous chapter, Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 7, what does Krishna say? He actually praises the material world also, that this is the place where if we utilize all the material objects, our own body in the service of the Lord, then we can go back to the Lord. And there are so many benedictions given in the Kali Yuga. For example, there are no karmas involved in thinking bad. That doesn't mean we should think bad, but there is no reaction, karmic reaction for bad thoughts unless you speak or you act upon it. So there are so many benedictions. So chapter 7, there is a verse, right, that Rasoyam Apsu Konteya, I am the taste of water, I am the heat of fire, light of sun and moon. So this material world, Krishna is present everywhere. That is such a hopeful condition that we are in. And even the verse Devi hi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. So the Daivi Prakruti, the divine purpose of creating this material world is because Lord wants to give us another opportunity. He wants to give us another opportunity to love Him, to go back to Him, and to engage all the objects we have. See, for example, if we take right now, the example, all of us are using our eyes to see this Zoom screen, right? We are using our ears to hear this Srimad Bhagavatam. We are using our tongues to discuss and to recite the shlokas. We are using our hands to touch the screen or the mouse or our mobile, whatever that we are using. So we are using our body and matter in the service of Krishna consciousness. So we should not hate material world, but at the same time, we should not get unduly attached to it. So if we do these two things, and if we utilize whatever we have in the service of Krishna, then that is the way to go forward with whatever opportunity given to us. If we utilize it, we can go back to Krishna very nicely. And we had also discussed last time that the best way moving forward, somebody had asked a very nice question last time, which gave us opportunity to discuss that Shravanam is the first thing, hearing. And then after hearing, the chanting or speaking comes. So Shravanam, then comes Kirtanam, then Smaranam. So we read, we hear, we speak Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-Gita, we try to remember. So when we speak, we are able to remember anything better, and then we can internalize. That is why we try to do Madchitta, Madgata, Prana, Bodhayanta, Parasparam. We discuss with devotees. And devotees association is most important and crucial if one wants to advance in spiritual life. So the transcendental blissful Lord's holy name is extremely powerful. And here also in this purport, Srila Prabhupada says that, but those intelligent persons who take to Krishna consciousness, use the human life fully in the devotional service of the Lord, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thus, they transfer themselves even in this life to the spiritual planet of Krishna and become eternally blissful there, not being subject to such rebirths. So for that, then I have chosen this beautiful verse from Padyavali again. And this really beautifully explains that what are the benefits of chanting the holy names. विष्णोर्नामेव पुंसः शमलम् अपहरत् पुण्यमुत्पादयच्च ब्रह्मादिस्थानभोगात् विरतिमथ गुरोः श्रीपादद्वन्द्वभक्तिं तत्त्वज्ञानं च विष्णोरिह मृतिजनन भ्रान्तिबीजं च दत्त्वा सम्पूर्णानन्दबोधे महति च पुरुषं स्थापयित्वा निवृत्तम्. Sorry, I'm reciting the shloka just today. Just found this Padyavali verse. So, Lord Vishnu's holy names are, it removes the sins, establishes piety, makes one disinterested in the attempt to gain an exalted post like that of Lord Brahma, grants devotion for the lotus feet of the spiritual master, brings transcendental knowledge of Lord Vishnu, burns the seed of repeated birth and death, and places the saintly devotee in complete awareness of perfect transcendental bliss. So when we chant, all the sins are completely vanquished and we gain spiritual piety. So this spiritual piety and material piety, they are completely different things. So material piety is when one does so many rituals or vratas to actually enjoy the material desires they have, which they want to be fulfilled. So that is different to spiritual piety. Here this shloka talks about the spiritual piety which never gets exhausted. It is eternal because it is devoid of selfish desires. It is selfless to please the Lord. So when we chant selflessly, we get the spiritual piety. When we chant, we become disinterested in the position of Brahma and Devtas who run the cosmic administration post. One does not have any attraction for such exalted post. And if we chant, we become devoted to the lotus feet of Guru. We get Guru Bhakti by chanting. Also, by chanting, we get Tattva Gnan, that is the knowledge of the Lord. Philosophy of Supreme Lord, His Nam, Rupa, Guna, Leela of the Lord, we understand better, and our knowledge increases by chanting. So, sometimes we might be hearing a lot or reading a lot, but it's not possible to remember sometimes. But when we chant, what happens is then we are able to remember, because that chanting, that service we did will help us remember. Because Lord says that I am the remembrance and forgetful in everyone, and Krishna's mercy will flow and we will be able to remember, and remember it the most when we need it the most, because it's not possible to do so without the mercy of the Lord. So the mercy will flow if we chant nicely. And the seed of birth and death of material desires, also they will burn by chanting the holy names. And the last line, Sampurnananda Bodhe Mahati Cha Purusham Sthapayitva Nivrittam. It means that we will get Sampurna Ananda, complete happiness, and we will be reinstated in perfect transcendental position as servant of Krishna, experiencing spiritual bliss. Chanting will lead to remembrance of Krishna, and that's the beautiful import of the shloka. So to hear and chant, if we do these two things, then we will be able to remember Krishna. So that was something that I really wanted to discuss today. And also, the main reason of this purport, it's also to understand that why this is getting created, annihilated. The reason is this, that Lord really wants to give us a chance. He wants us to go back to him. So this is the opportunity. That is why he is doing this. And Supreme Lord creates material world in response to the conditioned soul's eagerness to enjoy separate from Krishna. And you know, Supreme Lord, he withdraws the material world, that is out of his frustration. So annihilation takes place because Krishna is frustrated that these people didn't use their opportunity to come back to me. So in the form of Sankarshana, he thinks that now I have given chance to these people. They are so rebellious, their mentality hasn't changed, they haven't utilized, so let me give them another chance. So first Lord annihilates by getting angry. The fire emanates from the mouth of Sankarshana. It burns the entire universe and it's withdrawn into Mahavishnu's body. And after some times, after the anugraha of the Lord, here is the verse I forgot to mention, out of the total compassion of the Lord, he gives another opportunity, and thus the material creation takes place again. So remember, Brahma lives for 100 years, and one day of Brahma is 1000 Divya Yugas, one Divya Yuga is 4 Chatur Yugas. So all this happens in one day of Brahma. And at the night of Brahma, again, everything is annihilated, it is destroyed, and all the living entities, along with Brahma, go into the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. This happens at every night of Brahma. So, like this 100 years, how many half of them are the nights? We all go back into Garbhodakshaya Vishnu's body. But when at the end of 100 years of Brahma's life, a new Brahma will come. Before the new one comes, the total destruction will take place, whereby at that time everyone goes into the body of Mahavishnu here, right? So we know this is where Karna Dakshai Vishnu, this is the complete destruction, and this will be the partial where everyone enters Garbhodakshai Vishnu, hibernates, stays there for the night of Brahma. Again the day, next day of Brahma, again the creation takes place. So it's like sometimes, you know, our computer gives up. It needs a break. Like that, this is the break. Because to reboot the system, the night of Brahma, everybody is going to take rest. And next day again, a new chance is given to all the living entities to go back to Krishna. And this is beautifully explained in the 9th canto of Bhagavatam. यन्माया चेष्टितं पुंसः स्थितियुत्पत्त्यप्यायहि अनुग्रहस्तन्निवृत्तेर् आत्मलाभाय चेष्यते. So when what happens here is that in this verse it is explained that by Purusha Avtaras, out of compassion, anugraha, to induce the feeling of detachment for our benefit, sthiti utpatti, creation, maintenance, withdrawal, they are done by Supreme Lord, by Maya. And we may say that he's entangling us here by the modes. We may have doubt, but Srimad Bhagavatam clearly says here that Supreme Lord creates, maintains, and destroys out of his pure compassion to induce detachment for our welfare. Here, where is the Anuktan Nivrutir Atma Labhaya. That means for our welfare, Lord does all this so that our inclination to enjoy this material world will diminish by getting frustrated in our attempts to enjoy. We will somehow again turn to Krishna and go back to Godhead. You know, for this, I just wanted to give one quick example that, you know, how sometimes a mother, she gives toy utensils and a pretend kitchen set to the child who wants to cook on her own, right? Without, she wants to cook. There is no proper cooking going to happen. But because she has this separate mentality of independently cooking on her own, what does mother do? She gives her the kitchen set. Because she wants to imitate the mother in cooking. Similarly, the conditioned souls want to become independently, they want to become the enjoyers, and they want to have their own world and want to enjoy separately, do their own things away from Krishna. And that is the reason why creation takes place, as it is explained in this beautiful verse of 9th canto. But Krishna is extremely compassionate. So we can see how that child, after playing for some times, would go back to the mother, because there is no real cooking happened. There is no food. So she will be hungry. She will go back to the mother, and she will give up her toys at that time, and then she will eat nicely the food cooked by the mother, so with so much love and offered, and the prasadam. So in the same way, Supreme Lord has given this material world to the jiva, and he's hoping that after the frustration, like the child, after playing, there is no real food. So the jiva will also go back to Krishna, that Krishna, I cannot be the master, I cannot be the controller, I can be happy only in your company, in your service, in your loving protection. And thus, Krishna is looking to this moment when we turn to Krishna and say, Oh Lord, I am yours. And just to conclude, there is this beautiful, in Ramayana, there is a pastime when Vibhishan comes to Lord Ramchandra and to take shelter. And Lord happily gives shelter to Vibhishan. And Lord Ram says that what to speak of Vibhishan, even if Ravan, he comes and if he wants shelter, and then I will also give him shelter. So even if one goes and says to Lord Ram that, my Lord, I am yours, then Lord will accept that person as his servant. He gives shelter. He is so forgiving by nature. And even if conditioned soul does any abominable action and takes birth as, once somebody's done bad action, then they have to suffer their reactions. Then they might take birth as a worm in a stool or insect, then, or a fox or a crocodile, or but Lord is so merciful, he continues to stay in those souls' heart as well as Paramatma, as this verse says, that the third super soul, Shirodakshai Vishnu Paramatma, enters each and every heart of the living entity. So the Lord will still accompany that soul, because he is very eager to give the mercy to the conditioned soul, who are not so eager at this point, but out of frustration again, everything will be wound up, and again creation will take place. That will be the another opportunity for the soul to take to the process of bhakti yoga and come closer to Krishna. So that was the whole point, that it's well enough to understand the three Vishnus, I thought, and which everybody kind of knows, but what is the reason behind? What is the reason, and what are the 5 kinds of ignorances, and how, if we misuse our free will, what will happen to us? Because there is definitely reaction to every action, and how there is a way out. There is definitely a way out to go back to Krishna, or to utilize whatever objects we have for the service of Krishna. Even there was one more thing that I had thought about to discuss, but we don't have time. Even Mother Earth is also saying that every time new kings come and they say this land is mine, they claim proprietorship. But then nothing belongs to us, this house, this car. Yes, they are put in our care. So we must take responsibility to look after it, maintain it, but with the understanding that this belongs to the Lord. This earth belongs to the Lord. It is not mine, and it is my duty to look after it. And so these are the 5 ways the Lord reclaims the conditioned souls. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. The first thing is he does the creation. He gives opportunity for enjoyment. Then the jivas might get finally frustrated, may think of going back to Krishna. The third way, he reclaims us by the scriptures. Fourth is acharyas. And 5, by his various incarnations. So I'll conclude here, and if you have any comments, corrections, for example, specifically, then please do say so. And any comments or any question, we have 5 minutes. Sorry, I took extra time. Thank you. Okay, so nothing to share or no questions today. Okay, so what we can do is we can conclude here. But thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to discuss Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Just one question, Mataji.
Yeah, Mataji, I'll try, please.
Right. Right. I had a question. Somebody asked me that, when, sinful reactions. So people who are suffering in current
Mataji, I can't hear you completely. I think your internet is. Can you repeat
life,
again?
currently in this life, from past on, because you did.
Mataji, you'll have to repeat. I think we lost you for some time. The internet.
Okay. So the sins of past we are suffering in the life now.
Yeah.
So the question was that how will you learn if you don't know what you did wrong?
How will you learn if you did not do what you did wrong? Well, sorry, Mataji. So is your question?
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me now? I'm
Yeah,
just
I
going
can
to.
hear you. Yeah, did you get my question, Mataji?
Yeah. So I'm just going to
Yeah.
repeat the question and you can tell me if I understood
Yeah.
you. I think you said that if somebody is suffering their karmic reaction,
Yeah.
then how will they know that they are suffering? How?
No, they are suffering.
Sorry? Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
think the
Suffering,
question
right?
was, how will
But
they
if you don't know
know
what you
if
did
they
wrong,
do?
suffering.
Okay, okay. Right, Mataji. So yes, Sailesh Prabhuji, can you please mention the question because Mataji's internet is.
How would you know what, as far as I could make out, how would you know that you've done something wrong if you don't know that you've done something wrong? And how do you correct it?
No, Prabhu, so you know you've done something wrong, but you don't know exactly what you've done something wrong. So how do you going to learn out of it? If you're suffering from something, you don't know what you did. Of course, you've done something, but exactly what you've done, you don't know.
Okay. So your question is that you are suffering, but you don't know exactly what was that
So how
karma
are you going to?
that is causing the reaction.
Sorry, Mataji, I didn't quite hear you
She's
there.
saying that if someone is, we are all suffering now at the moment, but if someone is suffering and he's making mistakes and all that, but how would he correct himself? If he doesn't know what to do.
Okay,
That's what she means, I think.
Yeah, because the internet keeps going. Okay, so if that is the question, Mataji,
just
then
1 minute. Okay, you ask. Yeah, I'm just 1 minute. The person who wants to know this, I'm going to pass the phone to him.
Oh, okay. The problem is the internet, Mataji. Okay, go ahead.
Hi there, how are you?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you. How are you, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. My question is a very simple one.
Sure. I can hear you. Oh, gone again.
The question is, life, and in your next life you are suffering, yeah?
Yeah.
Then if that's a form of punishment, how do you know, how are you going to learn that you've done something wrong?
Oh, okay. So we discussed here. Yes, Prabhuji. Now I understand what you are saying. Okay. So, yes, your question is that how you are going to learn that you've done something wrong. And that is here. What we discussed is that, okay, so when someone does some activity that they are not supposed to do, first of all, they will learn because Krishna will intervene as a super soul from within the heart or through his representatives if he is lucky to have devotees around him or her, and through common sense, sometimes some knowledge that they had.
Hello, yes, I wanted to know,
Yeah,
hello,
yeah,
I
Prabhuji.
wanted to know, what is the purpose of karma?
Hmm.
If a person is suffering in their next life,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
uh, they don't know what they've done wrong, but they're suffering.
Yeah. Yeah, so they are burning their karmic.
How you have no idea?
That is fine, Prabhuji. Yeah, we will not know everything, would we? That is the whole thing, Prabhuji, that we don't know. There are so many millions of births that has accumulated in the past, so many activities.
Yes, I know that. What
Yeah,
I'm trying to ask you is the purpose of
keep breaking the voice.
karma, the purpose. Okay, let's say you did something wrong in your past life, and in your next life you are suffering. What is the purpose of that suffering?
Yeah, okay.
Is it to learn?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
It is to
I'll give you
learn.
one
Okay.
short answer to this.
No.
If
Okay. That's you already said yes. That's all I wanted to know.
yes, Prabhuji, it is the
So
suffering,
how
and when this suffering finishes, that means our karmic reaction is over, and that will purify us.
how can you learn? How can you learn? You have no idea you did something wrong. Do you understand? Look, if you go to school, imagine you go to school.
This is the
Yeah.
punishment. When somebody is suffering, that's how they will know they have done something wrong. And
Okay.
Krishna is very merciful.
Okay.
Through
That's fine.
devotees and through representatives, he will know he has done something wrong. That is why he is suffering. So, and devotees and people who have some knowledge, they will
Okay,
not
that's
take
fine.
it
You said
wrongly.
punishment. That's fine. Imagine you are in class. Well, did you go to school?
Yeah.
Yes. So you are sitting in class,
Yeah.
okay? And teacher is always punishing you, right? And you don't know why. Yeah?
No, teacher tells, right, Prabhuji, that what you have done wrong, or you will
I-
know what you have done wrong.
Mataji, shall I
If
try
the
and
teacher
help
is
you?
punishing
Yeah,
you,
okay. Sailesh Prabhuji wants to. Please go ahead, Prabhuji. Please. Thank you. I'm trying to explain, but it's not.
Yeah, I think there's a miscommunication, I think, going on. So, Prabhuji,
oh,
just very simply, just to take a step back for a moment, if I understand.
oh,
Firstly, there's no concept of Krishna punishing anybody. The reactions that we are suffering are of our own volition
okay,
and
there's no
making.
punishment.
So what we have done in our current life or past life accumulates into a bank balance called a karmic bank balance, and that is something that comes with us when we come into the next life. So your question
Okay.
is, when I come into this life, I'm now suffering because of my deeds in my past life,
Yes.
and how do I know to correct that? So the process.
No, that's not my question. The question is, what is the purpose of this punishment?
So the purpose is, there's not punishment. Firstly, it is our own doing. So if I've stolen from X, the government creates the law of the land is that there's a
Huh?
reaction to that. Yes, the reaction is not the government punishing me; it's actually my own punishment for the act that I committed. Do you understand? The reaction is because of the action I took. So,
Yes, I understand action and reaction. You
okay,
also
so
mentioned
so that
punishment
is the
again.
basic concept, that it is not God sitting there punishing. It is actually a reaction to our own karmic, our own action.
So
That's the first point. Second point, what I think you're struggling with is that how do you correct it, or how do you know that these were my actions?
no, I'm not talking about correcting it. I just wanted to know the purpose
So the
of
purpose
karma.
of karma is the universal law of reaction to our actions. That is the purpose of karma. If you've done good actions, you carry the good karma, and you have the reactions of the benefits of that. But they are all karmic, and they are all material. You will remain, as far as you are accumulating any karma, good or bad, you remain in the material world.
Yes, but what is the fundamental purpose of this happening? What is the purpose?
That is the material. That is the law of material.
Purification, Prabhuji. If the purpose is to purify and go back to Krishna. So if we bear our karmas and if we take the reactions, then we will purify, we will reform, and that's how we can then start afresh a new thing with the new, opportunities to go back to Krishna. We have to purify. If we did something wrong, we need to bear those reactions, purify, and then be eligible again to perform bhakti.
Yes, Mata, but the purification only happens when bhakti is involved. The burning of positive and
burning the reactions, Prabhuji, they'll say when somebody is suffering, I think that they will be purifying because those reactions are gone by suffering. That is why even Mother Kunti says, right, that again and again, if these difficulties are coming, then that is because we are burning our reactions. So let it be, let it come. That is the way to look at it.
Yes. Yes, yes. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, now I understand. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It satisfies, and I'm really sorry because
very well done. Thank you.
Because of the internet, I couldn't hear you, and other devotees helped me understand, and then Sailesh Prabhuji really helped also.
Yes,
So I'm really glad.
the line wasn't.
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu. Okay, there is a
The
message.
line wasn't good, but you both. I was reading so many books, I couldn't find any answer. But I think you guys just you hit the nail on the head. I got it now.
So
Thank you.
what is the answer you got, Prabhu? What were you looking for?
Well, it's the purpose is what I was looking for, and I think you
Yeah,
really.
because I did say, right, Prabhuji, here that the 5 reasons why we are here is this is why, to reclaim us, creation takes place, then opportunities of enjoyment are given to jivas. When we are frustrated like that child who is doing imitate cooking, then also we would go back to the Lord. Scriptures will help us, acharyas will help us, and Krishna himself comes in various incarnations. He creates the subject matter and material for us to read, and by Shravanam we will develop love for him, and then we would want to go back.
Yes. Oh, the line is thank you very much. You really helped me out. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Shailesh Prabhu, also for helping us all. And
don't think I helped. I think I hindered. So apologies for that.
No, thank you so much. Because always there are so many senior devotees, and I always feel good that they are there to answer and enlighten us. So I'm very, very grateful. Okay, so it's 8:57. Please forgive my mistakes, and I really, really thank you all for giving me opportunity, because I see it as my purification, burning my bad karmas and reactions by speaking some Hari Katha. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. Srimad Bhagavad Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vaishnavas ki jai, Spiritual Master ki jai, Shiksha Gurus ki jai, Vancha Kalpataru Drashya, Pavnibhyo, Vaishnavibhyo, Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, beautiful class. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Beautiful class.
Hare
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.